All right, guys, here we are talking about Twilight Zone, episode 12, season 2. And,
What up?
it's better than last week.
Yeah, you could say that.
So where does this one open up for you?
Open up for me. So we're in like a small town. Someone's testing out like a fucking hanging rig, like a noose, whatever they call that. The gallows, maybe, whatever.
Sure.
The thing where the trapdoor opens
With a
up
brand new rope.
when Mr. Burns hits the button. Yeah, so this is not a good episode. I know we said it's better than last week.
But by
It's not a good
coming from
episode.
our last week episode,
Santa Claus.
it's so much better. That Santa Claus episode was dirty shit. This one at least has. I think that this show can really take a lot from using these like sets of the like. I'm sure they've had access to a lot of these things, but like you gain a lot by just having the proper place to put something. Yeah, because some of them have fallen just because like they suck.
Sure.
It had some real dirt heel kind of shit characters. So I like that fucking fat idiot guy.
I'm not saying that this is worse than the Santa episode, but like if I had a fortune cookie sized piece of paper to like write my review, they'd be like the same. Like this is not a Twilight Zone episode. There's nothing interesting about this, but there's some good performances and old timey like words, and I kind of like that.
I thought this one was
That's
much
like
more of a Twilight Zone episode because at least it had a thing with like so this episode
a thing
less
like
about the person.
a thing like a magic bag that presents come out of.
Yes, he did have a magic bag in this episode.
I'm saying like...
No, but this episode with the Twilight Zone was not about the character I think you think it was about. Like, it's framed to be about this guy who was like, going to get hung, and then it's his dad trying to save him. But really, the episode is about the shitheel character.
It's about...
and it's him, trying to profit on
dog
someone's
food
badness.
or whatever guy,
And while he does that, I would have liked it to go a little bit further than where it went. But so he sells this bag full of sand, which he dumps out sand to give that guy sand. And I'm like, what was in there originally?
I think it might have been like tobacco or something.
Maybe.
I'm not sure what it was. I had that same thought of like, what? Like, am I supposed to know what those pouches are supposed to have in them? Or
so
whatever
he sells the guy a pouch full of just sand from outside the jail cell and tells him this is magic. It'll turn the way the people are thinking. And whether or not the Twilight Zone did twist and pervert his sand into a magical sand that did make the family have a change of heart, or the fact that he's just a shit salesman, and we see that based on the fact that he's actually selling dirt as if it's something else.
And he's so
his
happy
rope
about it.
breaks.
I
And
know.
The twist here, I think, can be taken in that multiple ways. Either A, the Twilight Zone did pervert his sand into actually granting the wish. The Twilight Zone took, that guy's greed and made his rope break, and consequently make him have less business. People are like, your fucking ropes break. We hate you. Fuck off. But then there's the part at the end that's weird, where he then gives the money back to the children, who I think we're meant to believe are all of that guy's kids, but we've only ever met one of them.
He says it's yours anyway, and I didn't even know if that girl was the same girl.
That girl was the same girl.
Okay, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
But then there's two other kids that we've never met, and I'm like, did he just give gold to everybody?
Why are they? So he, in like the dad's story, he says we all went to the city and sold all of our shit or whatever. So I think you're supposed to assume those are the other kids of the other men in his part of the village where they I don't know what the fuck. I would have liked it if like the rope was cut, or if that gold that he converted to was fake gold, and like the sheriff was like, let me take your pesos, Padre, and I'm gonna swap you up here because he's not gonna want that. I understand what's happening, and I wanted something interesting to happen or whatever, because the rope looks like it's cut. It
does look cut.
The magic Twilight Zone, which is fine to look like it's cut, even if it just broke, I don't care. But like the magic Twilight Zone effect of like the dust or whatever was only supposed to change the people's minds, so the rope still had to break too, which it wasn't part of what happened. I was like, what's happening here?
Well,
good performances. I like
the old guy. I liked a lot.
Yeah, I like the old guy. I liked the sheriff, and I liked Shitheel. His whole like, get your fat carcass out of here.
I was just gonna say that. My favorite line was, "Get your fat carcass out of here."
And he looks at him like, "Damn, son," and he's like, "You're dog shit. Get the fuck out of here.
It's too early and too hot. Get the fuck out."
He says something else, and he's like, "Well, because I don't eat dog food or something like that." And you're like, "Holy shit, he's so extra about this."
No, he went hard on that guy.
Which is great, because he's just sick of his shit.
It makes sense, though.
It's hot, they're poor, this dude comes around, hey, everyone, I've got things to sell, and he's like, this fucking guy. Because he's literally a shithead, and he proves it several times.
And the sheriff is actually a good person.
Yeah.
So, he has sympathy for the man that died. He understands that, it's tragic, but taking another life is not going to solve anything. But, he's doing his duty. But there's no reason to let you fucking harass this dude, so get the fuck out.
No, I know. And I loved that line, too, of like, he's had his day in court, and he's been sentenced to whatever, but no part of his sentence involves being tortured by the likes of you. You fat son of a bitch! bitch, get the fuck out of my and like tells him to leave. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is awesome shit. Old-timey dialogue and shit, like it's almost Shakespearean or whatever. You get some nice... people always have time to talk. They have time to say awesome things.
Yeah.
I dig it.
I spent a while of this looking at that fat guy's mouth, trying to decide if his tooth was actually missing or if it was blacked out.
I think it was...
I deemed that it was actually missing.
Yeah. That was my conclusion.
Yeah. I also, when the episode first opened, I was like, we're recycling sets. And I thought I thought back to the one where the time travel one with the professor. But it's not the same set. It is not the same set.
I wondered that too. There was even like an episode. It's probably not even close. It's not. Never mind.
The one
they go to the. It's like there's a planet and everyone's standing still or whatever, and they start outside somewhere.
Oh no! It might be the same set as the one with like, and that's the day that fate stepped in, and like the.
Right.
It might be the same set as that one.
Where they drink. They both drink their drinks.
Yeah.
And they wait and they shoot and stuff. Oh my god.
But yeah, I didn't dislike this episode. I liked the cowboy angle. I liked the characters. I thought it had stuff going on for it. Yeah, the twist was not, up to par. And also, I don't like it when there's too much left to my imagination where I'm like, well, what exactly was the twist here? What about...
Yeah.
And did Sterling come back at the end and say, like, and a cowboy's day in court is made with, like... He didn't say anything, did he?
Yes. He's... and, like, I used to write it... Those parts I used to write down because they were like poetry. And it was this awesome thing of like, sometimes we look in the mirror and we don't see what we see what we want to see. Other times we can't help but see the thing. And it's this weird, like, oh shit, Curry, pause it, I can't write fast enough. This is so good. This is so, and now they feel like these apologies for these episodes that barely have a twist of any kind, or it's like, and hey, yeah, it was something about something where
was
like,
it anything about the case itself? It didn't register with me.
It's barely about the shit anymore because there's no shit for Rod to like comment on. Like it opens like this town that only has one chief export and one chief import, squalor, poverty, sitting in the, and it's this weird like setup is fine, but then like the capstone, the ending part is like, what are we doing here? What are you talking about? How are you gonna twist this into some awesome, like, really makes you think, man, really makes you think. It does not make me think. There's nothing to think about here. Go fuck yourself.
And then you have the title card showed on this one. Did you see that? For like
no.
1 second it froze.
Oh.
I forgot what the episode was called now. I think it was like Dirt or something.
Okay.
But it showed it and it was like an old-timey thing and it looked like a bonanza cut and then it was just like dirt.
It comes up at the in the beginning or the end because it comes up at the end usually.
I remember it coming up in like the middle, I thought. Like
Lord.
I thought it was like where a commercial would have happened. It popped
they left
up.
in like
but
a few frames
I could
by
be
accident.
crazy and forget.
Yeah. They could have left in some, because this is all ripped right from old archive reels and stuff. So they could have, like that one episode had like the little bit of Rod Serling being like, now next week we're going to see something interesting.
Yeah.
People say I can't write women, but I think you're gonna be proved wrong in the following episode. And they're like, where are we? I even forget what episode that was.
The episode that led into was the one at the train station or the bus station where the woman had a doppelganger.
She was seeing herself everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh well, whatever. I like the Old West, like you're saying. I kind of love this time period. I love that sort of weird, like, well, as it was Fred's horse, so he's the only one who's allowed, to decide if like Jacobson should hang for that. And you're like, wait, like our modern justice system literally does everything it can to like separate the victims from like the fate of the accused or whatever.
I think that makes sense.
And here they're like, what do you think, Mrs. Swanson? And she's like, well, let him go. And I'm like, oh, God. And, like, I remember there being something, I think some movies have it, I'm not sure if if it was real life, but, like, if something like this happens, if, like, the rope breaks.
The law changed.
Okay.
It used to be you will be hung, and then they changed to hung until dead.
Exactly. That's where that phrase comes from.
Because when the rope breaks, you couldn't be hung again.
Right. So this is that thing where it's like, well, he's still in custody. We can decide what to do, but technically the rope broke, so now we're in this vague area where I'm going to put it to the floor and get some opinions. Like, that sort of like feel is very weird and different than
the
like
1800s. I think they had to change that law. But yeah, I do like that. Yeah, hung until dead.
Hung until dead. It's like, why even say that? Because of something like this.
That was something that like I had heard as a kid and never made sense to me because I'm like yeah, of course.
It sounded like redundant and like you're just making the phrase longer for no reason.
Well, because originally the plan is your neck snaps, but sometimes your neck doesn't snap and you just choke to death.
Just strangle.
Other times it breaks.
Yeah.
Or you're freakishly tall and your legs just touch the ground.
Or you're just trying to hang lurch and he's just standing there or whatever.
Yeah.
No, like we're in this weird period of time now where we're getting like repeated episodes of like, I don't feel like this was Twilight Zone-y. I didn't get like the mindfuck feeling, but I kind of enjoyed being here.
This episode,
you know?
I had no problems with, really. I was fine with it. The acting carried it all the way through.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the characters. The old man was great. The shitheel was great for being a shitheel. I'd hate to see what that casting call was for. The sheriff was great.
Can you be greasier, maybe?
Can you be smarmy?
I can be much greasier, I'll tell you.
He looked like he should have like a half a cigar that's like not even lit anymore. And he's like, "Ah." He reminds me of the dog that would be bullying Goofy.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I forget. He has a name. Yeah,
Bluto or Bluto.
Well, I'm thinking of like the kid one, I think, or something. But yeah, his like dad.
His
on the
dad
other
was
show.
slimier, yeah.
Yeah.
And like dropping coins, like
Yeah, he was the one. He sells Mickey and Minnie like a fucked up Christmas tree and like steals their money or whatever, and the holiday thing. Oh, Lord have mercy. He is. He's literally like a real life caricature of that exact of that exact dude. No, this is like, and not even rare is what I'm saying. Like, there's probably like 5 or 6 episodes in the though now where I'm like, I can spoil it for you. There's nothing to spoil, but you should still watch it because it feels good. It's like good or whatever, which is fine.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the consensus on this episode, guys. Let us know in the comments below what you think about it. Don't down a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.